We found out Kobe died right as we were filming our first video in our Raising an Ace series. His spirit for sure filtered into the videos to follow, and as a tribute to his greatness, we referenced a Kobe moment or mindset in all 17 videos in this series. Kobe's legacy lives on for certain. Here are those clips. Very sad news today. Kobe Bryant, former basketball player, died in a helicopter crash along with his daughter, which is very sad news. Kobe, I've always been a fan for just him as a person. He's always been a good guy, made mistakes like all of us, but he's been a good guy at heart, always trying to be the best version of himself.
Right.
So it's almost, I wouldn't say ironic, but kind of a weird vibe to it that as we're doing this video, we actually just got that news. And I think Kobe personifies greatness and just being competitive with himself to be the best person he can be. And I'm confident that Ace, myself, and Miriam, we're on our way. We're on the journey to become the best version of ourselves.
So just sports, like there's so much emotion in sports, and sometimes players cry because they just care that much, or maybe they're mourning the loss. You know, Kobe Bryant 2 weeks ago, a lot of tears, people shed over that. That's not a bad thing. You gotta want to release that emotion, and that's a big part of authenticity that we want to encourage for Ace.
I love mentioning Kobe Bryant, especially, you know, in a weird way. Our first video was when he passed. I know his memorial is tomorrow, so I'll mention a story I read when he died. It was his late daughter who died also, Gianna. She was 13, great basketball player. So he was like, how can I coach her to be the best basketball player that she can be? And Kobe, one of the best players ever, wasn't like, I'm so great at basketball, I'm not gonna ask anyone for advice on this, even the greatest. He knew of a great high school female basketball player, and he knew that she was coached by her dad. So what did he do? He reached out to them, and he talked with her father, like, so how did you get your daughter to be this good at basketball while coaching her?
Right.
You know, it's just that mindset, like that humble attitude that Kobe had. That's something everyone can relate to. You know, because if the greatest can have that attitude, everyone can have that attitude. So I'm challenging you as a parent. Try to be the best parent you can be. Don't be overconfident. You know, be confident, but always learn new information. Your time is limited. In the blink of an eye, it can be over. It can be over. Kobe Bryant just died in the helicopter a month and a half ago. That was a reminder to some people that it can be over at any point. You shouldn't need that reminder though.
Right.
So when you're going out there in this world, live your purpose, because you don't know when your expiration date is, pretty much. You know, and Kobe lived it when he was here on this earth, even in the short term. So one example kind of tied in with work ethic too with Kobe is when he was 12, he came to Philly. According to him, he sucked at basketball. So over 2 years, he worked out, I think he said like 3-4 hours a day, 7 days a week. That came out to 20-25 hours per week. He saw people were just working on average maybe 4 or 5 hours per week. So he was working 5 to 6 times harder than the other basketball players. He turned himself to the best basketball player in the country, or at least the state, by the time he was 14.
Right.
So that's like in the short term, Kobe valued his time, his productivity. You know, so that's the message really, to live a purposeful life. The how to live with purpose is valuing your time. Right? Unconditional love.
Right.
That gives a child all the power in the world to go out there and chase their dreams. You know, like the first time we did this video, Kobe Bryant passed away. So I like to mention him in every video if you haven't noticed. But he mentioned in an interview, his father told him it didn't matter if you won or you lost. I'm going to love you regardless.
Right.
And Kobe said that gave him all the confidence in the world to go out there and try his best, because he knew he had someone in his corner to fall back on.
Yeah.
So that's the message too. Love your child. That gives them confidence. And all the stuff we talked about, take that to heart and really reflect yourself on how to ignite that confidence in your child going forward.
Yeah.
The late Kobe Bryant, even when he retired, he humbled himself to not just think about himself and be like, oh, I got all this money, I'm great, I don't need to think about anyone else.
Right.
He wrote children books for teens to empower them.
He also taught his daughter how to play basketball, and also reached out. I remember you
to
told
the coach
me,
that we mentioned, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like Kobe just always had the mentality to just learn and then to just empower other people too.
Even though he knew he was a great player, he still went out and asked somebody else for advice on coaching his daughter.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Like,
that's just the humble attitude where you're using your platform for the greater good.
right.
And the late Kobe Bryant, you know how I like to mention him in these videos.
We love him.
1997, he shot four air balls in a 5-minute span in a playoff game. What did he do that night? He went back to the gym and practiced some more because he feared that happening again. He used that to propel him.
Right.
So using fear as a motivating tool, that's really powerful. So one example I'm going to mention, sports reference, Kobe Bryant. In the 2009 playoffs, you can look it up. I'll put it in the description too. Ron Artest got in his face in the middle of the game, and he won the fight or something. And what did Kobe do? He put his hands up. Kobe backed down pretty much. Sometimes backing down is a form of toughness. What went through Kobe's head? What went through his head was, I've got a goal, and there's no one that's going to stop me from achieving that goal of winning an NBA championship. Right. No one's going to distract me or get me off my rhythm, get me thrown out of the game and hurt my team. He wasn't so preoccupied with looking tough or trying to prove he's not scared. I believe sometimes you need to raise the expectations and have faith that a child will meet it.
Right.
Like one example I'm going to reference with this, Kobe Bryant in 1998, he started every game that year after only starting one game the previous year. So at 20 years old, he played 38 minutes a game. His coach saw his potential and he's like, let me raise his responsibility level and let's see if he reaches it. I think about a Kobe quote right here. Kobe Bryant once said, everything negative, challenges, pressure is an opportunity for me to rise.
Right.
So I encourage everyone watching this, rise through your adversity. And I'm thinking of Kobe Bryant here, him and Shaq, they didn't see eye to eye, but Kobe recognized for the greater good of the team, they need to work together and show teamwork.
Right.
With Ace, we want him to have an open-minded presence, encourage diversity of thought. Too, people think about a loved one in your life that isn't here anymore, or maybe someone who's passed away in 2020. Kobe Bryant, George Floyd, David Dorn. These people don't have breath. You do. Be grateful for that. Be empowered by that.
Yes.
Kobe in particular, he lived a grateful life. Even as he excelled in the NBA, when he retired, he didn't just stop. He continued to make positive contributions to the world. He understood the truest statement of all. Life does not owe you. You owe life for being here. And Ace needs to understand, his joy is defined by him. So I'm going to mention the late Kobe Bryant here. I remember an interview I heard one time from him. In high school, he said some Friday nights he would go play basketball while everyone else was out partying. Because he said his joy was basketball. And I'm thinking of a Kobe Bryant quote with this example. When he said that one time on a podcast, when you love something, you'll go through fire for it. You'll go through the ups and the downs. So it's like if you love something, you'll persevere through whatever pretty much. And Kobe Bryant, I want to mention something from him. I saw this podcast that he was on when he was asked, so Kobe, how do you maintain your internal peace and your calm under pressure? And he said he's still, he's mindful, and he unpacks the worst case scenario of things. So he might say look, the worst case scenario, if I miss this shot, I'm embarrassed. Or there's fear because I let my teammates down. But he's like, so what's so bad about that? I've let my teammates down before. Nothing really too bad happened. So he realized, look, there's no point in stressing about this because the worst case scenario isn't even that bad. Kobe Bryant mentioned that this is a powerful thing that he used when he was alive. Every day he would meditate. He said he got that from Phil Jackson. Kobe in an interview called it the anchor of his day. And he can kind of attack the day from the right frame of mind through meditation. He's more in control of his emotions and being calm and all that stuff.
Right.
So that's really important. Kobe Bryant, I just showed Miriam this last night. In the 2009 finals after game 2, Lakers up 2-0, a reporter asked him, Kobe, why aren't you smiling? Aren't you happy? And Kobe, dead serious, was like, what's there to smile about? The job's not finished. Now, that might be ultra extreme in terms of mindfulness, but Kobe stayed in the moment and be like, look, the job's not done. Let me keep my foot on the pedal. A lot of times in life, you have to have that mentality. So I want to reference a Kobe thing that he referenced in a podcast one time. He said that his late daughter, Gianna, told him one time as he was procrastinating with an ESPN documentary and writing teens book. She told him, Kobe, or Dad, that you can't just talk about it, you gotta be about it. She was like, you're telling me to do these things, but you're procrastinating yourself. Kobe took that to heart. He realized, look, he can't encourage his child to achieve greatness if he's not manifesting that in that moment of his life. So you gotta chase your own greatness while you're encouraging your child to chase theirs. And check out part 2 of Kobe's Legacy Lives On, where I discuss final lessons from his life that we can all hold dear to us.